What's going on, guys? It's Greg from East Coast Dyes. Hope everyone had a great holiday weekend. Got some cool East Coast Dyes stuff over Christmas. And today we're bringing you a really cool review on a new pair of Under Armour cleats that I got a chance to test out. So I've been testing out a lot of different cleats lately. Been wearing some Under Armour ones, some Nike ones. It's cool to see the differences between each. So these are the Under Armour Banshee cleats. These are more what I'm used to wearing as far as a cleat goes, mid-top, more standard looking cleat. And these are only 75 bucks right now on Under Armour's website, which is a really good deal for those of you guys used to paying $100 or $130 for cleats. This is a great traditional style cleat option for only $75, which personally I've always worn cleats that were more expensive than that, and for the price, these were really nice. So really great deal there and a really great value in this cleat. So they come in 3 colors. We got the royal ones. They also have an all white, which I always like, and a red, and they've got some really interesting styling to them, which I actually ended up really liking. When I first saw them, I only saw this side, and then flipped it over. It has an all royal side with a really cool texture pattern on the whole thing that repeats a little bit on this side. So they're definitely really unique looking with the split that goes right along this seam here. And usually I don't wear anything that has a lot of color on it for cleats, but I actually really enjoyed these, kind of because it was only half split. It had this really cool texture pattern, and overall liked the way that they looked and felt. Some of my favorite things about these were, one was a very small thing, but what I noticed it immediately was the laces. These are a really thin, flat lace, as opposed to some you get round for cleats, round laces. And the flat ones tied an extremely tight knot. I usually use a double knot, but for these ones didn't necessarily have to, because that flat lace and how thin it is tied a really tight knot that never came undone. One of my pet peeves is always cleats that get loose as I play with them, which is why I usually double knot them. And then to go along with the laces, they've actually got a metal eyelet up here at the top, which I like too, because I've had a lot of cleats that have frayed through the eyelet. So I think right here, this middle one and then the top one, they have a metal eyelet, because those are the 2 places that I've seen cleat laces and cleats themselves fray in the past. So those are little touches that just kind of added to what I really liked about them. Overall, with the fit and the feel and putting them on, they do feel more like standard cleats rather than the highlights that are super high and really hug your ankles. These are your standard mid-height. So putting them on, they fit really well, not too tight on your foot. They were true to size, 10.5, and this was a 10.5, so they were a perfect fit for me. And just overall, not a lot of slipping, not a lot of movement. Pretty secure, didn't have to tie them up too tight, and then they fit really well. One thing that I did love about the fit, feel, and the comfort was the tongue. I've run into a lot of cleats these days, and shoes as well, that like to include the tongue into the cleat. Sometimes this is nice, but sometimes it's just way too tight. This one has what I like about those, where it's really thin, flat, and flexible, but it's not into the bottom of the cleat, so it can pull out entirely, and it's super flexible. So I like that they had both the thinness and the fact that it wasn't stitched down. So some people do like that. Me personally, this is probably one of my favorite tongues I've ever played with. And then for the grip and the traction, it was nice that it was a muddy day out there and we were shooting around and running around, so I got to really test the traction with these. Was not really slipping at all. They have kind of the standard round pegs here, and then some wider ones at the bottom, which I like. But then one thing I really liked was on the inside, it has these kind of fang looking, sharp, longer ones that give you a lot more traction when it's on the inside, when you're really cutting and digging hard. So not too deep and not too long, and pretty flexible on the bottom plate. But overall, felt like I had a lot of grip and was slipping very little for the amount of wet, rain, mud, you know, the slippery conditions that we were in. So overall, I really enjoyed wearing this cleat. The things I mentioned, the little details that made this nice, like the tongue and the laces and the eyelets, and the price point especially makes this a great deal at only $75. So if you like more of a traditional feel, a mid-high cleat, then this one could be a really good option for you. So thanks for watching. Make sure, let me know in the comments if any of you guys wear the Banshee cleat, what you've thought of it. I know a lot of teams like Maryland and Notre Dame and Loyola are going to be rocking this out on the field this year, so looking forward to seeing them wearing those. So have a great day, guys.